Ugh. Not again. More plastic. Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Splashing Paint. Today, I will be painting a Loonboss on Giant Cave Squig. After priming the model black, I do a series of dry brushing of grays and whites. I'm sure there's technical terms and reasonings behind this, but I just like the way it looks. And for me, it helps kind of break up the whole giant block of black plastic. Now it's time to get started. I use a red contrast paint for the Squig's body, making sure to avoid splashing paint all over the rider in any parts that I do not want this color. Nice and neat is the key, because even at the beginning, if I'm not careful, I can mess this entire thing up. For the tongue, I use a dark blue contrast paint. I figured a fantasy mouth with legs would have a dark blue or dark purple tongue. I mean, just look at it. Onto the inside of the mouth. I decided to go with pink. I carefully splashed this all over the roof, the sides, and the bottom, making sure not to get any on the freshly painted tongue. Time to start working on the Goblin Rider. After going back and forth, I decided to settle on a lighter blue compared to the one I used on the tongue. So I splashed it all over, making sure not to get any on the armor paneling. Speaking of which, the next step is painting all of the metal parts. I use a black contrast. I want this guy to look like a knight riding assassin. Then I moved over to the Bad Moon symbol on the shield. And for this, I used the yellow paint. I went ahead and did the eyes as well. Now, since I don't have the exact goblin green paint for this little guy's skin, I went with a Militarum green instead. It's a darker color that I think works well with the Knight Rider scheme. Wash time. I use a purple wash inside the mouth, making sure to not let it pull too much, while still avoiding the unpainted parts like the teeth. Then I applied a little splash of yellow wash onto the shield and the eyes. Now onto the horns, teeth, and claws. I use a sand colored paint as base. While trying to be as steady as I can, I don't want to paint any of the completed surfaces. Highlighting time. I use a lighter red paint on the Squig's body, focusing on the raised parts, leaving the recesses dark. Shroom time. I decided to go with green, orange, and purple. I think these colors work nicely in a fantasy world. After base coating the main colors, I went on to using a brighter variant of the base colors as a highlight. I then decided to 3D print extra shrooms and glue them onto the base. I wanted to add a little razzle dazzle. Now on to painting the shroom stems. I went with a cream color. I think it complements the top as well. Since I was in a highlighting mood, I decided to touch up the tongue with an even lighter blue. Nearing the end, it's time to add some texture paste to the base. This stuff is usually meant for sand, but I think it'll work nicely with the theme. After letting it dry overnight, I then go ahead and splash a dark brown contrast paint all over. I think this helps changes the setting. Once dry, I then dry brush a lighter brown paint to all the raised edges, helping it pop. Black rim time. I make a few passes around Saturn and I'm done. Thanks again for watching. If you'd like to follow me down this rabbit hole while I actively work through my plastic crack addiction, subscribe. You can also head over to my Instagram and see all of my present and past projects. Until next time.